All right, today we are diving into a Japanese corporate earnings report. And I know, these things can be super dense, right? But don't worry, we're going to cut through all the jargon and pull out the real story hidden in the numbers for a company called Cyber Solutions. Let's do this.
Okay, boom, right out of the gate you see this number, plus 31.8%. For any tech company, that is a huge leap. So what is it? Is that revenue, new customers? You gotta wonder, right? Well, this single number, it's really the key to the whole story of their recent success. We're about to find out exactly what's behind it.
And that leads us right into our first section. We're going to start with the big picture, the headline story. Think of it as the 30,000-foot view of how the company's doing before we really get into the nitty-gritty.
And there it is. That's our answer. That 31.8%. That was the jump in operating profit. So basically, that's the money they made from their main business, before taxes and all that other stuff. But look at the rest of the table. This was not a fluke. Revenue up over 14%. And net profit, the final bottom line number, is up a massive 33%. This is just a story of solid, impressive growth all around.
So, that's a pretty fantastic picture, right? But the big question is, where's all this growth actually coming from? It's time to pop the hood and take a look at the two engines that are really driving this company forward.
So the company's business is pretty much split down the middle into two main parts. You can see the bigger slice of the pie here, 58%, comes from what they call their Security Solutions division, and the other 42%, that's from Communication Solutions. So you've got these two distinct but, kind of related parts of the business.
Okay, now here's where things get really interesting. Both of these engines are growing, which is awesome to see. Communication Solutions is up a really healthy 12%. But get this, look at Security Solutions. It's just rocketing ahead, growing at over 16%. This is the engine that's putting the pedal to the metal and pushing the company's profits into overdrive.
And this isn't happening in some kind of bubble. The report itself connects these numbers directly to what's happening in the world right now. I mean, think about it. With generative AI spreading like wildfire and creating all these new vulnerabilities, and cyber attacks getting more and more sophisticated, the need for top-notch security is just exploding. And it looks like Cyber Solutions is in the perfect spot to ride that massive wave.
Okay, so strong growth is super exciting, no doubt. But is it sustainable? Is it all built on a solid foundation? To figure that out, we need to do a little financial health check. So for this next part, we're going to shift gears from growth and profit to stability. And to do that, we've got to look at the balance sheet. Just think of it like a financial checkup for the company. On one side, you have assets. That's everything the company owns. And on the other, liabilities, everything it owes. So let's see what this checkup tells us.
All right, first up, let's look at the assets. And whoa, you can see a really significant increase here. It's gone from about 5.4 billion yen to over 6.8 billion. What that means in plain English is that the company now has way more resources to work with, more cash, more valuable stuff to build its future on.
Now for the other side of the coin, liabilities. Basically, their debt. And this is where it gets really impressive. While their assets were shooting up, their liabilities, what they owe, actually went down. I mean, think about that. They're growing their resources while shrinking their debt. That's a powerful move.
So what happens when what you own goes way up and what you owe goes down? Well, the value that's left over for shareholders, the company's total capital, just skyrockets. It jumped from 2.4 billion to nearly 4 billion yen. You honestly couldn't ask for a more textbook sign of a super healthy company.
So the takeaway here is really simple, but it's so powerful. More assets, less debt. I mean, that is just a crystal clear signal of serious financial strength.
All right, for our next section, let's do something fun. Let's follow the money. We've seen the profit, we've seen the stability, but now let's talk about cash. Cash is the lifeblood of any business, right? So where is Cyber Solutions cash coming from, and where is it all going?
So cash flow usually gets broken down into three main buckets. You've got operating cash flow, that's money from the day-to-day business. Then there's investing cash, that's cash from buying or selling big assets. And finally, financing cash, that's from investors or lenders. Let's see how they did in each category.
First up, from their core operations, the company brought in a positive 811 million yen in cash. This is just a fantastic sign. It shows their main business isn't just profitable on paper. It's a real, genuine cash-generating machine. It's turning sales into cold, hard cash in the bank.
Next, investing. Here, they brought in a net positive 59 million yen.
And this is pretty interesting, because a lot of times you see companies spending a ton of money here on things like new buildings or buying other companies. Instead, it looks like Cyber Solutions made some smart moves, maybe sold off some investments, and added to its cash pile.
And finally, we have financing. And wow, they brought in a huge 728 million yen. Where did that come from? Mostly from issuing new shares. This is just a massive vote of confidence from the market. It means investors were lining up, willing to put this much new capital into the company because they really believe in its future.
So, when you put all that together, what's the result? It's pretty staggering, actually. The company boosted its cash on hand by over 1.5 billion yen in just 6 months. That is an enormous amount of financial firepower, giving them all sorts of options to invest, to grow, and to reward their shareholders.
Okay, we've gone deep into the details. For our last section, let's pull back and zoom out again. After posting such strong results, what kinds of signals is the company sending to investors about what's coming next?
Well, the clearest signal of all might just be this number, 16 yen. The company just announced it's going to pay an interim dividend. That's like a mid-year payout of 16 yen for every single share. This is a direct cash reward to the owners of the company. It's their way of saying, hey, we're doing well, and we want to share the profits with you.
And to really understand just how big of a deal this is, you have to look at this comparison. Last year, at this same time, the dividend was 0, nothing, zilch. So going from 0 to 16, that's not just a small bump. That is a bold statement. It signals incredible confidence from the leadership team that this amazing performance we've been looking at isn't just a one-time thing. They believe it's here to stay.
And that really brings us to the final big picture question. We've seen a company with amazing profits, a balance sheet that's as solid as a rock, and cash just pouring in. All of it driven by this booming security business. They're sitting right at the intersection of the AI revolution and the never-ending need for cybersecurity. So the big question we're left with is, can they keep this incredible security-driven growth going?